The AfroPrenuer podcast, a podcast for African entrepreneurs, presents inspiring, innovative, and disruptive entrepreneurs from Africa as they share their lessons, insights, and learnings from their unique entrepreneurial ventures. I'll be your host. My name is Ogweno Stephen. Let's roll. Welcome to another episode of the AfroPrenuer podcast, where we host incredible entrepreneurs from Africa, sharing their entrepreneurial stories and the lessons that you could learn from them. And today's episode is a bit different because, I'm hosting someone I already know very, very well, which makes this a very interesting podcast. But without further ado, ODUOR, introduce yourself. Tell us more about yourself, where you're coming from, what you're doing, and then we sort of pick it up from there.
Well, you said that this interview is quite interesting because I was like, when I was invited, what am I going to say? Because the person hosting me knows me very well, and let me say is my boss, and also you'll be wondering like, what are you going to say? But well, let me answer the question. My name is ODUOR Kevin, and I'm Chief Programs Officer at Sterling, where I run programs. I'm also a founder at Legacy Leadership Africa and the Executive Director, where we do leadership training. And also I'm in mentorship in high schools and university and colleges also. I also dabble as a co-founder in For Food, which is a social enterprise on food security, where we basically use low-tech innovation to address food wastage and ultimately ensure that we can reduce food losses. I don't know whether to talk about also things I've participated in. I'm a yearly alumnus. I participated in the yearly alumnus called 34, and also I was also the Ban Ki-moon Global Citizen Scholar in 2020. Actually, I was among the 6 Africans and the only male who was picked for this program, and that is quite something that is endeared to me. I'm also a Millennium Fellow, that was 2019, where I also served as the campus director for Kenyatta University. A position I used to steer social innovation and also work with the fellows to deliver them through graduation, 20 fellows, which I'm also proud of having delivered them to graduation. I think that is what I can mention.
You are also an upcoming author, which is what you're forgetting to mention.
I was just supposed to talk about Beyond Papers, which is going to be quite an incredible book. And looking at the chapters that are already there and the things that I am looking forward to talk about in that book.
And we'll come back to that book in a few minutes. But before that, so clearly you founded a lot of, and you've been part of founding teams for a lot of companies and organizations, most of which I'm inside of them as well. So what has your journey been? And just not only with starting these organizations, but what's your story? Where did you start your entrepreneurship, sort of business venture story? When did it come out? And then how has it sort of transitioned to date?
Well, I would say that that question takes me back to, let me say, world of fond memories, because I'm looking at during my primary school when my mom used to, I think you know this jaggery, I used to sell them, and my mom would give me 20 shillings. That was then. I think 20 shillings is still 20 shillings right now. And I would go sell them. Something funny happened that my dad was really against this, because I would, during break time, I would come out of classes and go and buy this jaggery and come and sell them. So that is quite where I think was the starting point for this entrepreneurship. And I would even sell other stuff in high school when I would bring in the noodles to sell in school also. So that acted as like a launching pad for the same. And when I finished high school, a cousin of mine told me, hey, now that you're done, can you come to Nairobi so that we start hustling? That is the word they used to start like knowing how to pay bills and everything. So when I landed in Nairobi, and I was like sitting in the house, and I was like, what could I do? I could have something to do, and I got this poster, somebody asking, we want people who can sell stuff, these kitchenwares, and I started with that. And I could sell them, go to like nearly all the estates in Nairobi, which I've worked and I used to sell this stuff. And so I realized that, well, I can really sell, and that is the whole point of being an entrepreneur, being able to sell whatever you're starting and grow a company. And after that, I went into another kind of entrepreneurship where I got a gig with ODUOR Bread. That is, it was a company that was making bread. It was called the ODUOR Bread. Then I sold this 2015, employed people. Even when I joined Kenyatta University, I had these people still doing this, the people I'd employed still supplying this bread. And so that gave me a strong, let me say, entrepreneurial backing and also skills to establish business. And then I come to KU, and that's where I've met people like you. During my third year, after a lot of other things, establishing even control of portals consultancy on tax. And it's quite funny how this started, because it was an idea that struck me, and I said, okay, well, I could tap into the number of people who are in need of services like health services and also care services. A company which has quite grown with a lot of people who now I serve. So that would be pretty my entrepreneurial journey, and even right now what I do with other foundations, even Storylink, which you started, and at Legacy Leadership Africa, looking at Info Food also. So I would say it's really quite the journey.
So back to control of portals, because we are very much in the same campus, and I found that to be a very, very interesting concept of identifying a need and then sort of solving it. So I know you've sort of briefly highlighted into it, but I want to go into a bit of the details as well. So at what point did it strike you that you could do tax returns for people, or go and get their house for them? And considering that the process is quite tedious in itself, at what time did you see that, this is something that I could do, and that there's an opportunity here to be able to make some profit, but also create some impact, because you've helped a lot of people from the villages who, for example, they do not have access to internet, and this information is not privy to them.
Yeah, well, I remember precisely how these controller portals started. When I was that was around third year or second year, when a friend of mine, Dorothy, I guess you can remember Dorothy very well.
Yes.
Told me, like, could I give you 100 shillings so that you take or deliver my help document to town? But it was not that way. She was giving me 100 shillings to go give another guy. She was called, I can't remember really the name. No, it was called Hillary. So Hillary was the one to deliver this document. So I realized that this was an opportunity for me to deliver the document, because I had the other document that I could deliver. Then I said, fine, if I have to deliver this document, then it means I have to collect others, because it wouldn't make economical sense if I were to only deliver one document. So I said, let me now collect other documents. So I started advertising, asking people to kind of bring their documents I could take to town for them. But then I went a notch higher to also now starting to apply for people this help document. Then when I got quite a number of people, over 50 people in a week, and I could take them to anniversary towers where the headquarters of help. And they will even stamp them for me. So they knew I was dealing in this, and so I had created rapport with them. And even the office of it's called the dean's office, the dean of students, used to ask like, why do you come here a lot, many times, and your document already stamped. So I told them this is what I do, and so they received acceptance from them, and I was able now to apply for people, take it for stamping also, which was quite tedious to people. All this process, I was doing it at 100 shillings, so that was making sense to them and could save them a lot of money. So on my end, I would gain profit. On their end, I would save them the time for those who don't have time, and also save them the money, because it's only at 100. I applied for you, and I also take it to town. So I save you a lot more. And then I moved from doing carry, doing help now to doing carry. There was another friend who was. I can't also remember his name quite well. He used to send these messages on WhatsApp on people wanting to do their carry. So when I saw this, I just posted as I want his services. So he taught me how to do this in disguise, and so I picked this up, and I thought now I'll be applying and doing this carry service, and that's how control of portal services or consulting services was born. That's how it was birthed.
Yeah, so up to date, in terms of estimates, how many people do you think you've served so far?
Well, I've served quite a number, and looking at my estimates, I think it is over, let me say on the other side, over 1,000 people whom I've served. Because again, it's not just people whom I used to serve, there are a lot of referrals, and I've been able to get new people coming in without necessarily having to do a lot of marketing. So yeah, over 1,000. Okay,
interesting thing. So entrepreneurs have daily habits, things that keep them sane and help them manage their busy schedules, because clearly you have a very busy schedule. So what are these daily habits for you? What do you do on the daily to sort of keep you performing at the optimum?
Yep, fine. What I have to first mention is that my very first thing I do in the morning is say my prayers, and that gives me the impetus to start the day. So that is something that I wouldn't want to miss, and it has become part of my my daily schedule. It's a habit that I have to continue with, and also exercise. So exercise is also something that I have to do. 20 or not more than 30 per day. So when I wake up in the morning, maybe around 5 or 6 in the morning, then say my prayers, then do the exercise, take bath, then do my to-do list every day, and I have to know what am I going to do during the day. So that by the end of the day, it's like I've achieved 1, 2, 3, 4. And so without that to-do list, I think there are a lot of things that would escape me. So to-do list, my prayers in the morning, some people may call it meditation, or whatever the name you want to give it, and also exercise, whatever exercise we do, always an exercise.
Interesting. What would you say has been the value of exercise and early prayer and setting the routine on sort of clarity for the day, but also in terms of managing the day's expectations?
Yeah, well, I will start with prayer. Prayer first will help you to connect to a higher power, and that gives you the sense of accountability to someone. I mean, you don't see him, but you are accountable to somebody. So I would say that sense of accountability, every other morning you have to say your prayers and thank God for giving you an opportunity to do whatever you're doing, giving you the energy, the new impetus to do whatever you're doing. That I would say it has taught me a sense of accountability, just being accountable. For exercise, I think exercise now helps me relieve, the stresses you may have during the day. Because once you see that through that exercise you are achieving some milestone, then that gives you that kind of motivation to go on with whatever you're doing. The consistency you put in your workout gives you also, the kind of encouragement you need, even in other tasks, even in other daunting tasks. So it teaches you a lot. Exercise also helps you, stay in the right body you want, and that also gives you kind of self-esteem, confidence, and also being able just to, gives you the, let me call it the aura to also be around people, knowing very well that, you are in the right body you want, and also generally to relieve stress in the morning when you have achieved certain key milestone, that makes you a happy person.
Interesting. So what do you enjoy the most about being an entrepreneur and being in business?
Well, that I didn't expect that question to come. But what I enjoy the most is entrepreneurship is the fact that it requires, audacity, and that it requires you to be consistent. So that kind of the feeling of consistency, you having to do whatever you're doing over and over again until you get it right. I think I enjoy that thing very much. And also the fact that in entrepreneurship also you're interacting with people, and when you interact with people and you serve them, and somebody comes back to say that, hey, you really helped me here, I think that is the right mindset we need for social entrepreneurship, especially where you're not just there for the profit, but you're also being there to serve people, and you are giving a solution, and you're making people solve their needs. I think that I really enjoy it, and when people come back and give you such positive feedback, and you're like, yeah, I'm doing something, it gives you a sense of satisfaction, which you can't get, let's say, from an 8 to 5 job. Yeah,
interesting. So back to this question of gratitude and sort of the joy that you get from helping other people. Would you say that has been a contributing or a major factor into how long you've stayed into the business, and what your plans are in terms of entrepreneurship moving forward?
Yeah, well, I would credit it to that, because while we might argue that maybe if you look at those who are in 8 to 5 kind of a job, and those who are in entrepreneurship, for a job maybe fine, you'll be getting your remuneration maybe at the end of the month or whatever, but you see the kind of impact you're creating might not be really very clear. But for entrepreneurship, the kind of impact you're creating, because especially for social entrepreneurship, you are giving a service, and your mind is not just for the money. Of course the money is important, but you're also creating an impact, and people really feel that this impact is the solution you're providing is what they were looking for. So I would say that kind of feeling, or that sense of satisfaction, the positive feedbacks that people give you, and generally the people who look at you and they say, well, you are their role model. That is what keeps you there. That gives you let me use the word I've used over and over again, the new impetus to keep on keeping on. You're
right. Interesting. Entrepreneurship is challenging, and a lot of failures we experience as entrepreneurs. So could you speak to some of yours? What are some of the failures? I know we've experienced a big setback, but anyway, what are some of the challenges that you face in your journey as an entrepreneur, and what lessons have you learned from them?
Yeah, well, there was this let me say answer that would score when we were high school, when you could be asked challenges entrepreneurs face, and you would say lack of funds or whatever. I'm not going to talk about lack of funds because I believe that even with the funds, if you don't have that, let me call it the entrepreneurial clout, then you can't really ace it. But the challenges I face is that, you may try to do your best, and there are people who may not come to really support you. And that lack of support, where people are saying, "Oh, you're doing a great thing. Let's just come and support you." It may not be materially or money, but the kind of social support where people just supporting whatever you're doing. I think that has been a really major challenge. And for us who depend on social media to sell our stuff and sell whatever we're doing, our services, you will find or face opposition, especially when you are advertising what you're doing. Maybe let me say on WhatsApp group, because again, this has been a very, very great platform where you can sell your stuff or service. And people will be like, you are spamming their inbox, you are spamming their groups or whatever. So it's an intense opposition that if you don't have, that kind of heart to just withstand this, then you will really, let me say, fold and go home. So that has been a challenge where you just want to tell somebody, this is what I'm doing. Would you be interested in my services? And people, those who are not interested will wish you away. Even those who are interested will be like, you are spamming my inbox and you're just selling something. That has been a challenge. The challenge also comes where, you're talking about, you're trying to allude to whatever happened to us the other day, when you're establishing business and also insecurity issues are also there. And you're wondering if you are to establish, or you are an entrepreneur who is dealing in a product. Such kind of security concerns are also there. Issues to do with really people coming to protect you also, maybe in your setting or where you're doing your business. Are people really coming to also protect your business? So those are things that are also coming in terms of insecurity. We can't wish that away. And that happened when we recently lost our product. And so, so that's why I would mention security, lack of support from even your close relatives, because they don't really see this thing, transmuting. Let me use that word that was used by, who is this guy who wrote this?
Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich, saying that can it transmute into money? So they really don't understand, or they won't support you until it can transmute into some form of
that's
money.
Napoleon Hill.
So I really understand when I say lack of social or lack of support, even family support. For them, they would want to be there when the money is there. Yeah, when the money is there.
Which is interesting, because when the money is not there, then they complain as well. So, in terms of recognitions and awards and sort of achievements that you've been able to collect, and you've collected quite a few. Mention to us a few of those, and what they meant to you when you sort of hit those milestones.
Yeah, well, I alluded to some of these, but I'll just again talk about them.
Give us the details now.
Achievements. One is, which I feel so much endeared to me, was Ban Ki-moon Center for Global Citizen Scholarship. This scholarship was awarded to a few Africans, and so when I got that congratulation message that you've been selected to be part of this amazing global citizen, that was really a moment that I felt something amazing came my way. And just being part of this group has really served as a testament of the work we have done at Info Food, which you are also part of.
Yes.
Or still part of.
Yes.
And that was a great one, and it amplified the work we are doing in Info Food and social entrepreneurship, because that is what really got us there. And also, if you look at even Millennium Fellowship, where also through Info Food served as the, what do I call it, Millennium Campus Director at University, a position that really, gave me an opportunity to work with people, know how to lead, and also, I got to interact with even other people who we have worked with, and that gave me, what do I call it, leadership acumen, and that achievement has also inspired us, or inspired me to really continue doing whatever I'm doing, because somebody is let me say, is watching, and sooner or later you're going to be recognized for whatever you're doing. There's another one. I would also mention Yali, of course. This happened even before we started Info Food or these other organization. But I think it happened because of storytelling. So I think Yali was also another great achievement, because that was anchored on a strong entrepreneurial background, and being able to show whatever you're doing in terms of even civic engagement. And I would credit such achievement to entrepreneurship.
Interesting. So, you're published with the WHO, and you won the Hideo Noguchi Scholarship for African Researchers, which is something you're very low-key about. You're like, it's a continental-wide sort of award. So, sort of with your background also in the health space, talk to us a bit about this recognition and how that came about.
Oh, well, I didn't talk about Hideo Noguchi because, we were talking about entrepreneurship as such, but I think this is also something that is worth noting, the Hideo Noguchi. And it was very funny how Hideo Noguchi came, because, again, we say that entrepreneurship requires people who are able to just go for it. You don't have to sit down there, trying to sober, and that's not really the word I was looking for. Trying to cry and
you have to have a pity
party or something. And it's just those who are ready to go for it.
Alright, thanks for listening, and that's a wrap for this episode. For more exciting episodes like this, don't forget to follow our podcast, the AfroPrenuer podcast, on all streaming sites, and visit our website at www.ogwenostephen.com. See you on the next one.